guys, and welcome back to another Plan With Me video. I've been a bit absent, I realise, recently. I know I've still posted these videos, but obviously no voiceovers. I've just had quite a lot going on. Life has been quite busy since the world started getting back to normal, and then this one is even later, because as you can probably hear, I've not been very well. So July is here, it's a setup, and I've kind of decided to go a little bit more all out this month with watercolour, because why not? This one took quite a while because, as you can imagine, every time I've painted stuff I've then had to wait for it to dry so I can then paint again, because I didn't want to overload my pages too much. But I am glad that this gel that I'm using actually is fairly tolerant of having watercolours used on it. I mean, the pages do crinkle as I'm painting them. You can probably see them starting to curl up slightly, but actually they hold up pretty well. I don't overload, so I use it in pre-pigmented colours, as you'll see when I do the white. That is still a watercolour that I'm using to paint over the top, but I'm not using as much water as I possibly would on other things, so they come out pretty bright, especially after a couple of layers of it. I did get the Posca pencil out because I did think initially I might have to use those over the watercolour base if the white watercolour wouldn't cover it, but luckily it did. I just used the Poscas for some details and for the writing, because I've got a couple of different sets there. You can just see the really fine ones at the top. But yeah, so July is daisies. I'm not really sure why daisies represent July, but for me, I kind of think of July as kind of usually the start of summer. Schools start breaking out and stuff. So yeah, because you often see fields of daisies, especially these big daisies, and that's kind of my thought process there. So we're coming into sort of like the big vacation time, fields of daisies, so that's what I went with, and I just thought it was quite a fun, kind of simple theme. Obviously wash out the background with the blues and the greens, and then obviously paint the details over the top. You can see I've got the detailing now in with the Posca pens, just to sort of make it look like there's other flowers in the background without having to fully paint flowers in the background. And then one of my bigger Posca pens is obviously to use as a marker. I didn't want to use my brush pens on it and sort of ruin the nibs of the brush pens by putting them over the paint. So I went with that, and then just a fine liner as normal. I annoyingly did make a mistake drawing an additional line on the top row of my calendar view, but there's not much I can do about that, unfortunately. Watercolour isn't going to hide that line, so I am now having to live with it. So this is my notes and expenses setup. To be honest, I kept these pretty simple and the same as they always are. I didn't want to paint the entire page for these, so I've just done the sort of blue through green wash at the top, where my titles are going to be, and just sort of left it as that, nice and simple, not too over the top for that. So first of my 4 weekly spreads. Safe to say, I think I probably did go a little bit overboard on these spreads, as I have painted the entirety of the background on every single one of them, because why not, I guess. It took a while, because you could kind of see I'm holding the pages down because they've obviously had water on them from other sides, and they're starting to want to curl up quite a bit, so I started having to hold them and use things on the edges to stop the edges curling up too much, because that is what they want to do when they're wet. I have since finished this. Once it dried, I have had it closed with the elastic around it under something else heavy, so the pages are now flat again, because I've flattened them out once dry. It's just while you're trying to paint them, they don't want to always behave. But I kind of knew that would happen when I decided to do a spread, every week, which involved painting the entire background. But it's pretty, so I just guess it's worth it. But if you're going to try this yourself, like I say, this white, I'm using enough water to make the paint soft, but I'm pretty much painting almost with raw kind of paint. Once we actually get to doing the flowers, there is not much water in there at all, because otherwise they will just not show up over the green that I'm painting over in the blue. But it is a fairly straightforward process, and actually this is such an easy thing to paint. The daisies, as you can see, they're not really uniform. I've just sort of done them at a different angle. The petals aren't really uniform. They're just sort of kind of like, I don't know, rounded oblong things. They're not all the same size. They're just, I don't know, around the flower. Just do what kind of looks right to you. I added orange to the bits of the middles because it gives it a bit more depth, I guess. I don't think many daisies are ever one colour in the middle. And then out comes my fine Oscars again. I actually changed up my layout as well. I realised that the way I've been doing the weekly spreads for the last couple of months probably wouldn't work with a completely painted background. So I've changed it. I'm going to see if it's worked. I've done it the same for every week this month, all 4 of them. But I've divided the page, so running across both pages, into 5 sections. So Monday to Friday goes across the top, and then I've got my mini calendar bottom left. I have a notes and a task section like I would have had, although that is smaller this month because of how I've changed up the way I've put the days. And then I have Saturday, Sunday in the bottom right hand corner. That seemed to make sense in my head. I did toy with running it Monday to Monday to Friday, then Saturday, Sunday, and then having like the notes, mini calendar and stuff. But that meant that my mini calendar was in the middle, and so I don't know. When I was working it out, it just didn't seem to quite make sense in my head to do it any other way than what I've done it, I guess. We'll see if it works. If it doesn't, I will never use it again. If it does work, it may make a reappearance if I ever decide and get the urge to do another one of these ridiculously overpainted entire background spreads. So you can see on this page I've had to take a few attempts at going over the white to get it to be dark enough, and then on this one I also forgot to put the kind of the leaves and stems and the stalks in before painting the white because I was distracted. It's definitely easier if you do want to do something like this to paint the stems in first before the white, because obviously then I was trying to paint stems around the flowers, and anything that went all the way through I had to kind of approximate where it came out as well, because I didn't want to paint through the white and then have to paint over the white again. But it kind of worked out. I kind of made it work. Queen of making things work because you've forgotten what you were doing and messing it up. But I do like these, especially I've changed up the difference, so every page has a different ratio of like the blue sky through to the green, and as you can see on this page I've kind of it's a lot higher and I've blended it so it kind of looks like there's something where they meet as well. I don't know what it's meant to be. It's meant to be like mountains or hills or just something, but it's there. You can really see that page is starting to curl, so I've had to weight it onto the edge of the palettes there, just because I was trying to keep it from curling too much so I could paint right to the edges, which probably wasn't the best idea, painting all the way to the edges. But I also don't like necessarily having the borders around the edge, especially as if they're not uniform, it really bothers me. So it's sometimes easier just to paint all the way to the edge. And you can see here again, I kind of lowered the green so there's more blue this time. I just thought it'd be interesting to do it that way as well, because when you look at a flower meadow, depends if you sort of stood up or sat down, is how high the daisies sit up in the sky depending on your angle of perspective. So I just thought, let's make it different. And actually, even though all 4 layouts are the same, none of them are the same as well. I kind of wanted to create, while I've got kind of uniform unity, it's not identical uniform unity across every single spread, because I don't like it when it's identical all the way through. I like the theme to run through, but I didn't want it to be carbon copies of itself, because that kind of takes away from the point that I kind of draw and paint every setup every month. If I wanted everything to be identical all the time, I might as well just buy myself a normal diary instead of making one, because this is far more fun. And especially the end of June not being well, this has given me something to kind of focus on and do when I felt up to it. So it was kind of nice to have a purpose that wasn't just me panicking that all of my other things haven't been done, and that I'm getting behind in all my other work and workload. Because I don't know if any of you guys have ever checked out my Etsy shop, but you guys have gone, or somebody somewhere has gone crazy for my little dinosaur hats. So if you've not seen them, I'd love it if you checked them out. I do link my Etsy store in the description of the week as well. But I don't make so much journaling stuff over there. I do sometimes have stickers up. I do a lot more of like making and embroidery things, which is fun. I know, I find it fun. I don't know if other people do, but yeah, there's lots of stuff, different embroidered things, handmade stuff. And if you like the idea of something but don't like what is there, I'm always happy to do custom things as well, which happens quite a bit. If you want to see anything like that I've done, my Instagram feed is normally full of different stuff. So there we go, there's a random Etsy Instagram shop promo in the middle of my setup, but if I can't tell you guys, who can I tell? I'm pretty sure this is the last page of this setup. Similar again, but different again, because, I don't know, let's keep the theme, but change it up. I kind of really wish I could go and sit in a flower meadow now. I don't have any of these. I do have a garden, but I don't have any of these kind of big white daisies in it, so I might have to change that at some point and maybe go and get some, because they are very pretty. Who doesn't like great big giant daisies? If you don't like daisies, I'm sorry, please don't tell me how awful they are, because I don't know. I mean, maybe next time I'll do a poppy field, but the reason I didn't do poppies this time is I thought that maybe if I'm going to paint the entire background, red probably wasn't the best way to go, at least with these kind of muted blue and green, and then the white. I have a fighting chance of being able to write over it. I'm hoping I can write over it all. Certainly the Posca pen wrote over it, so worst case scenario, I'll be writing with Posca pens all month. We'll see, I guess. I need to start adding things to it, so we'll see what happens. But the Posca paint pens wrote absolutely fine. So I'm hoping my fine line did as well, actually, from my calendar, so it should be alright. Anyway, so coming to the end of this, here is a flip through. I hope you enjoy.